We're going to go now to Patricia LaFrance, our legal analyst. She is joining us live. And Patricia, what do you make of the jury's verdict?
Specific, definitions for the recklessly meaning, what it means to be, reckless. It seemed to me that they had already kind of decided on who they believed and were just making sure that they understood the exact definition that they needed to make a finding of guilty.
You're talking about that note that the jurors sent to the judge earlier this morning asking for a clarification of wording, in which she told them to kind of use common sense, right?
Right. And, that's the definition of recklessly, is when you consciously disregard a risk. So once I heard that, and as a prosecutor, I never tried to guess what the jury was thinking, but generally that means they're now sifting through the actual legal definitions of each crime and going through them. They've pretty much decided that, they probably have what they need. They just want to make sure that they're covering all their bases with respect to the legal definitions for every single crime that they are contemplating.
All 5 charges found guilty. We knew that falsifying physical evidence and abuse of a corpse would be guilty verdicts because the defense basically admitted already that he did this. Take us to the biggest charge of second-degree murder and why that is considered second-degree murder.
Yeah, well, first degree, it really involves kind of a pre-planning. This one, even by Kayla's own testimony, it wasn't something that Adam had planned. It was obviously spur of the moment. He had lashed out in anger over Harmony's, going to the bathroom in the vehicle that's what Kayla testified to. So it wasn't something that was premeditated or planned out. So that's why you have the second degree murder charge. Again, still has a very lengthy up to life imprisonment. So, and plus he has all these other charges that he's already serving time for, well over 30 years minimum. So.
Yeah, on the weapons case, which was a separate case, we don't have a body at a murder trial, which is somewhat unusual, though DNA evidence was presented. What was your thinking going into this legally, knowing that there was not a body to prove a murder?
Right, and that I always felt was the strongest argument that the defense had in terms of and the state's biggest issue was proving the cause of death. So without a medical examiner to testify about what exactly caused Harmony's death, I always thought that would be the biggest hurdle for the state to overcome. But clearly, it appears the jury believed what Kayla said about how Harmony died. What could happen next, though, is that defense would typically, in this situation, request what's called a judgment notwithstanding the verdict. They could ask the judge to basically dismiss the charge because, they don't feel that the state proved its case beyond a reasonable doubt. I anticipate that will be coming from the defense very soon, particularly in this case where you had just one person, a lay person, testifying to what the cause of death was.
Typically, how would a judge respond to a request like that?
Well, this is different from when they filed, the motion to dismiss at the close of the state's case, because the standard is different. The standard there is that the evidence has to be looked at in the light most favorable to the state, meaning if you believe everything that the state has put forth. But what the defense might argue is that the information that they brought out on cross led to, could lead to a reasonable conclusion that the state did not prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Adam's actions caused Harmony's death, because they don't have that, the medical examiner and an expert testifying to that.
And Patricia, as we continue to talk, we're looking at live pictures from the courtroom where Manchester police officers are speaking with the prosecution team right now as they exit the courtroom. Can we talk a little bit about Kayla Montgomery and that testimony from an estranged wife, an admitted drug user, getting on the stand and then giving her account of what happened? Jurors, as you said, believed Kayla Montgomery. What do you make of that?
Right, and I watched her testimony. I watched a lot of it, at least, and I felt her testimony was very compelling. Certainly, the state did not shy away from the fact that yes, she lied. Yes, she has a perjury conviction. They kind of got ahead on that one and explained to the jury why she did so. She had documentation, pictures to back up her, her reasoning that she was abused as well. Plus, again, you had the corroborating evidence of, what she was testifying to, certainly the physical evidence, but even some of the witnesses who provided supporting testimony to support what she was telling the jury.
You mentioned that there may be some motions coming forward. Quickly, can you give us anything that you would know about sentencing for a case like this, what we can expect?
Right. I mean, I think just the heinous nature of this crime and what took place after, I'm sure the state would be seeking a life sentence and nothing less than that. That would be my guess. And, the defense would probably be looking for less, but again, just the very nature of this act is certainly enough to request life sentence.
All right, Patricia LaFrance, one more quick question to ask you. You've seen many jurors in many trials. This is certainly one that pulled at the heartstrings. It was emotional, it was graphic, it was disturbing. What are the jurors going through right now?
Yeah, I think there's a sense of relief, obviously, that it's over, a sense that they did their duty and they listened to the evidence and by their verdict obtained justice for this little girl. I think, what happens a lot of times is you might have a juror speak out, especially in this circumstance where clearly there were other institutions that perhaps failed this child, that you've heard it happen before where juries say, we really feel that either Massachusetts or New Hampshire, they should be held accountable for what happened to this little girl as well. Sometimes that you hear that in a jury just because of the horrific nature of just how she came to be in this situation and living with Adam Montgomery.
Patricia LaFrance, thank you for your insight throughout the trial and on this day when the guilty verdicts are delivered.